السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونتوب إليه اللهم لا سهلا إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. Everyone, today inshallah I want to talk about some very basic important concept of learning the Quran, which is the habits of Quran learning. So right now, if you have a child that's currently struggling to learn the Quran and maybe they've been in the Quran class for many years. So imagine your child has been learning since they turned 5 years old. Your child has been learning since they turned 10 years old. And after 5 years of learning, you're still not seeing them able to read the Quran themselves. So they're missing a pillar of learning called the learning habit. So in a program in the accelerated Quran Reading program at Mahir Academy, we actually have what we call the learning trifecta. Maybe you've heard of this before. So the learning trifecta are pillars of learning. And so imagine your child going to school, they have a system which makes them achieve results. They have a milestone to be achieved at each semester or at each year in the classes. Many kids learning Quran do not have those kind of expectations. Okay, they just go to the Quran classes, learn today, learn tomorrow, but they're actually not having those expectations being dealt with. They're not having those expectations being met, which needs to be achieved to learn the Quran. So I want to talk to you and give you those tips, and so they can put those in mind. You can put those in mind whenever you have your kid learning Quran with someone. You're going to ask for those learning habits to be implemented. One, the first learning habit is called attendance. So when you have your kids joining the Quran class, okay, they're joining the Quran class, but imagine they're not having to have consistent attendance in the classes. And it's not something the kids only will be taking care of. You as a parent will actually need to take care of that. Tracking. I want to show you an example of this on the screen here. So you can see this one here. This is what we call the learning trifecta in our program. So learning trifecta are things that actually will make a child achieve a result. And so if they're not getting to do those things, it's likely they will not be able to achieve the results. Right? So one, they need to have a learning strategy, meaning there needs to be a curriculum. There needs to be a curriculum in which the teacher will need to use to teach the student. They need to have an environment that's actually going to make the learning fun. Okay, that will make the learning interesting to the child so they can commit to learning for many years and many months. So if your child is not excited, the environment is not really motivating for them. That's the first thing. Okay. And also you need to have your child learning to have habits of learning. So when we talk about learning habits in a program, we talk about three things mainly. We talk about the child having consistent homework submission, having consistent attendance, and having punctuality tracked and monitored. So you think of a way in which a child learns in school. They reach out to you if your child is not coming to classes. They reach out to you if your child is actually not, being on time in classes. They reach out to you if your child is not doing homework. Everything your child needs to do and they're not doing it. In the school, they actually reach out to you. Okay, so these are required things that will need to be taken care of. So I want to show you an example of our students, tracking system here. So we in a program here at Mahir Academy, for instance, we track students weekly, meaning we track the learning habits to let you know, okay, this child this week achieve 80% of the tasks required of them, or this child this week have less than 80%. Imagine this kind of system here. So this is an example of a tracker for students. So we have, like, for instance, our 4-month curriculum program. It helps students to learn to read the Quran themselves. If they begin at level 1 student, you can expect your child who is a level 1, who is not able to identify letters and join us in 4 months, able to practice reading the words and the ayat themselves gradually. So you think of what makes that child achieve that goal, while some other kids are actually doing that for many years and not able to achieve that goal. And that's the mindset a lot of parents have, is that, oh, I did this 5 years, I did this 2, 3, 4 years. Why do you say my child's gonna do this in 16 weeks? Yeah, you did it that way because you didn't have a structure to learn. It took you forever. And not all kids actually have that kind of patience to spend 5 years to achieve a goal. So you want to have a reasonable time, or an expected time that's really doable. You cannot want to achieve a goal and you spend many years without even having a plan in place to get to your destination. Imagine a child going to school, they have a curriculum, they have a system, they have how many years the child needs to spend in a school to graduate. So you don't have that in Quran classes. So you need to have that kind of system to implement, to have kids learning with the learning habits, with a structured system, and also having environment. So the learning habits is what I'm talking about right now. You see this on the screen here. Attendance to lessons, we track those weekly. Punctuality to classes, we track them. And getting to submit homework, right? And so this is what I sum up here, okay? This is what I sum up here. When child is not consistent learning habits, it becomes a challenge for them to actually become a fluent Quran reciter. So if your child is not really being consistent, you cannot expect them to achieve a result. Okay, so let's talk about the attendance one. What does attendance do to help a child to learn the Quran? One, when you have your child coming to classes, for instance, in our own program, the child will be coming to the classes, learning the concept of Tajweed, practicing together, doing homework, and rehearsing among their colleagues in the class. So they have a winning environment. They have like a system of a curriculum being learned, and they also have like quizzes at the end of the classes, like I mentioned last week, how to get your child excited and get motivated to learn the Quran. And so if you're really interested in having your child to become a fluent Quran reciter, tap the link, comment Quran below this video, put Quran below this video, and let's chat, let's have a discussion about how you can help your child to learn to read the Quran and becoming a fluent Quran reciter. Remember 3 things I've mentioned so far today, which are the learning trifectas. I've explained one of them last week, which is the learning environment, right? How do you want to get your child excited and get motivated and learning? That's there. Today, we're talking about the learning habits. So I've talked about them so far. I've talked about 3 things: the habits that needs to be learned, that needs to be built, attendance to classes, being consistent, homework submission, and doing homework. These are habits that are non-negotiable for a child. These are habits that must not be toyed with. And if you see a child learning for many years, this is why they're not getting results, because that habit is not being achieved. That expectations that's required of them is not being done. And because of that, you will not see a child achieve goal in just, even in 2 years, you'll not see a child learning to achieve a goal, even 5 years. I've seen kids who join classes, parents talking about the kids being in classes and being in there for many years, been there for many years. This is not good for our kids to be in a class, to be in a program for donkey years, and they're still not getting results. You know what will happen to those kids? They get disinterested in learning. They get discouraged in learning Quran, and they feel the Quran is a no-go for them. The Quran is hard, the Quran is difficult, and all sorts kind of things like that. So let's get started. Let's get head up on this, and let's join us in the Isolated Quran Reading Program to learn to become a fluent Quran reciter and to be a fluent Quran reciter. So like I mentioned earlier, here, I mentioned a few things earlier here. I mentioned about the curriculum that we have in the program. I also mentioned about the consistency of the learning habits, attending the classes, doing homework, and getting those track every blessed week. So let's get started. Let's join us together in our expert Quran, in our accelerated Quran reading program. This is a flagship program that we've developed for more than 5 years right now. That's revolutionary. I call it a revolutionary Quran reading program that makes students learn to read the Quran themselves in 4 months. So if you're really excited about this, your child is not motivated to learn the Quran, I've talked about, watch my video from last week, which I talk about how to help students to get excited to learn the Quran and how to build their interest in learning Quran. And today I'm talking about the second pillar, which is the learning habits, which are things that needs to be done. So imagine your child not doing those things, they will not achieve a goal in many years. And they don't have an expectation, the result is really very hard to achieve. So inconsistent learning habits is a big problem. You don't want to toy with that. You don't want to make that a common problem to your child learning the Quran. Consider having an athlete who does not have a trainer, or they don't have consistency in doing what training they need to do to achieve a certain milestone. They will not get there. They will not get there. So when your child is not having a tutor that's tracking the consistency of the learning habits, reporting back to you, giving you back reports. So for instance, in our own program, our students will get reports weekly from parents. So we track all the learning habits for kids and let the parent know what's going on. Your child is not achieving 80% milestone. We're going to reach out to you to give you feedback and let you know what things you need to do to improve for that child. And one good thing as well is that we have community on WhatsApp in our program where all students and parents are located. And so all students who are achieving those milestones weekly, we celebrate them, give them accolades, give them, appreciate them, and let them feel good about doing those things. Naturally, student learning Quran will feel they must do it, but it's shit from they must do it, but want them to do it. And we need to do things to actually get them to feel excited doing it, right? And not just doing that, we need to find a way to make it easy for them to get tracked. So tracking is really important in any learning. Imagine your kids going to schools and the parents, the teachers there do not even care about if the kid comes to classes, or they don't even care if the kid is, doing their homework. what kind of school is that child going? It's likely to not achieve any diamond result in that lessons, and it will take forever. You might there for many years, but nothing will be achieved. So let's kind of join us in our isolated Quran reading program. Click Quran below this video. Let's get started together. And I'm gonna end this webinar, this talk by just reciting Quran for us, and we'll come back inshallah next week to have another important tips to actually share together with us. Maybe it's time for us to go back to Tajweed lessons and start learning back our Quran and learning the Tajweed inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ومن أعرض عن ذكري فإن له معيشة ضنكا ونحشره يوم القيامة أعمى قال رب لم حشرتني أعمى وقد كنت بصيرا قال كذلك أتتك آياتي فنسيتها وكذلك اليوم تنسى وكذلك نجزي من أسرف ولم يؤمن بآيات ربه ولعذاب الآخرة أشد وأبقى. Inshallah, we'll meet next week, inshallah. Tune in and we'll talk about other thing, which is about the learning pillars in our program, inshallah.